Welcome to Boastful, the podcast I made up to talk about myself because no one else is going to do it for me. I am Peter Stolmeyer, and joining me today is Trey. I was going to think of a funny name for you because also with me today is alien number 3, but then I forgot what part you played. James, what was it again?
He was alien number 2 and prancing furry.
I thought
That
I was
was the
Alien
pause.
3 and Prancing Furry.
No,
thought you were
I'm
Alien
alien
2.
3.
He checked the IMDb.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I wanted to say joining me today is Prancing Furry Trey and alien number 3, James. Welcome.
Welcome.
Hello.
Hello.
Us
Greetings and
three-
salutations.
Us 3 white guys have things to say, and it does not matter if anybody else is paying attention to them at all. But give me a second while I
Please
at least
don't.
double check the technology. Okay, it is working. That's good. And look at that, nobody in the chat.
Hey.
My God. I'm shocked.
But that is the point of this, is simply to just have a record, because for me, it's pics or it didn't happen. It's documented or it didn't happen. And there are certain stories we tell each other when we're hanging out that have not been documented, and that's really what this is about. So I have a plan of like 6 of these episodes where I'm going to bring on different people. And I brought you guys on specifically because this is the like lowest tier version of the story. I don't think you guys will be insulted by that, because I'm also friends with Leo, who's that sci-fi guy, and we helped him with a couple of things. And when I mentioned this to them, they were like, "Oh, we wouldn't mind telling stories about Dragged In and Uncanny Valley." And I was like, "That's too high level." that is something someone.
No, we
Too
have to
close
start
to
in
the
the
source.
basement and work our way back up.
That's thing people will watch, and I want like they'll be telling that story about how hard it was to make, and I'll be like, and then I did this, and they'll be like, nobody cares. I'm like, my show. Okay, so that's what this is about. It is about us and what we did to get onto thatguywiththeglasses.com. Not Channel Awesome, not Doug Walker, that guy with the glasses. This is how old school we're going. I'm 2008 to 2014, let's say. I know they changed their name, but it was always that guy for us.
Mm-hmm.
So to rewind the clock, to remember it, so you have to. This is mandatory. We're going to remember it, and you have to remember it too. I was in college at the time for digital arts and design, and that was when there was a revolution of video making, and YouTube was first coming out, and its Alternative Blip and a couple of others. And Doug Walker was just one of the pioneer guys. I actually saw him on a Revision 3 show that Martin Sargent did after they turned off Tech TV. He did an interview with Doug, and I started watching his stuff. And I showed it to James, and James was like, "That is mildly entertaining." And I had not met Trey yet. But I wanted to set the story, the idea straight. The version of the story that we want to tell is that, yes, there were problems after all of this happened. There's a big fallout. If you want to look that up, there's thousands of videos that talk in detail, some good, some shitty, about all of this stuff, and not one of them mentions us.
Which is kind of a good thing.
It is a good thing, except that, goddamn it, we were there. So if you want to know about the controversies, there is plenty of ways you can do that.
Oh yeah.
Just type in any. In fact, it'll probably be related, since I'm going to label this "that guy with the glasses." It'll be in a related search. But this is just our attempt at the positive side of it, which was there was this guy that didn't care about you, and for some reason that intrigued you, and you wanted to be part of his thing. And he only handpicked certain people to be in his basically high school clique, and it was annoying that you couldn't be part of it. And we were like, well, how can we get on the site? How do we make that happen? So just think of us as like a heist. We're trying to get senpai to notice us, and we succeeded in several ways, and we're going to talk about that in basically mostly chronological order. So when I met Trey, that was a Doctor Who thing for sure. It was a Dragon Con, right?
Yeah, we met through the Doctor Who Pride-On Academy at Dragon Con.
Mm-hmm.
You were doing a unit soldier during the parade, and I was helping trying to get things organized. So,
yeah, that would have been the Brigadier Day. I walked around with a whiting crypt telling everybody to look lively and shoot 5 rounds rapid. It was super fun. But one of the things we immediately talked about was that guy. One of us would have made a reference, and we got it. And you told me, "Oh, I've been on the site." So you managed it the first time.
Yes.
And I have that clip here.
Oh, you got clips.
Yes, I
Oh,
do.
no.
Yeah, I've got them loaded up.
Oh, God.
Let's see how this format works, because obviously you guys were nice enough to show up at 8:30 on a Monday. Like, I don't want to keep you all night. So let's play the clip and see if you want to make a commentary during it. That's fine, because this is
Sure.
it's Doug talking. Who cares?
There he is. You see it? There he is.
Okay, so this was at GMX. There's me.
You see Casper?
Yep.
Look for Casper.
I'm actually going to rewind it because I forgot to point out
that
that
shirt. Yeah.
when he says there he is, he's actually pointing
that's
at
me.
you, and he added the ghost later.
Yeah, this was
There's
at
Trey right
GMX 2009 in Nashville. It was the first GMX con. And I lived near Nashville at the time, so I figured, hey, why not head down there and see what kind of shenanigans go on at this convention. And then Doug was there, so...
There you are again. Got the goggles on. Now, I thought this was funny at the time, but since I look at it in such an old man eye now, I'm like, did you break into the pool? Was it closed?
No. Just no one was there. Just no one was there. It was open. There I am.
You are again.
I took the long way around the pool because I went the other way.
He's defeated. I have defeated the evil ghost. Hug me!
Yeah, the Joker kid, I was thinking, maybe we should push him back in. And the Joker kid pushed him right as I was about, I'm going to reach. Oh, nope, someone went first.
And then they beat him to death.
They would beat him to death.
The end.
Again, to talk about some of the positives of Doug is that that was revolutionary. Like, not only was YouTube new, but then doing this review and then going, and I didn't show you the clip, but he ran down his own street chasing this ghost that he added in post-production, and then he went to a con and got all these people to join him in this little thing. As kind of goofy as it looks now, no one had ever done it before, and novelty has always got value. So I still think that's funny. And another funny thing about that particular skit is when he did the timing joke, which was, what is comedy? Timing. And he had Casper doing that like 5 minutes late. We would do that. He would make a joke and then Casper would jump in. It was pretty good. So you went to his panel. I mean, you can actually see there's not that many people there. Is there any stories about that panel?
He basically just hosted a Q&A. At one time I had it recorded and up on my YouTube channel. I've since taken it down for obvious reasons. But it was just a basic Q&A. If I remember correctly, it was either his first or second convention ever. So, well, at least as a guest.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And
he doesn't go to cons for fun. No.
Yeah, no. This was like at the end of it, he basically like, hey, I'm going to shoot a thing. Give us like 10, 15 minutes. And then he went up to change. And then like we got a brief, Doug's going to run in here and do dumb things. Just play along. And it's like, okay.
Yeah.
And
that's another thing I like about that particular skit is that he's describing what Casper is doing, which is the same thing an actual crazy man would do.
Yeah.
I mean that in a positive way. Like, he really kind of grabbed that mental man energy, like, right there.
So yeah, what's kind of funny about that is that I'm wearing a Kamen Rider Decade shirt, and my face popped up on like a bunch of the fan groups that were subtitling Kamen Rider that year. They're like, Decade has appeared in Nashville. So
he had that kind of following, man. He had people watching him. I know I mentioned game shows, and I have not mentioned you yet, James, but I will. I promise. We're gonna because I want that to be a little bit relevant. So we're gonna circle back around that. But game showing is something that I've done for years. I guess because this next part is kind of important on that. We started working at Anime Festival Orlando. I started doing game show hosting because basically there was no one else to do it. There was no one else I could have as a host. And I was like, well, if you're going to do it, you got to do it way over the top. So I had this whole persona going on. Probably one of the reasons I was so attracted to Doug, because I was into that in the year 2000. I was doing that stuff. And then James met up and he was like, hey, I will help you, because I had to run the engine and I had to host it at the same time. And so he started helping me.
Yeah,
But
it's like
when-
you need a guy in the chair so you can go
Yeah.
out there and just dance like a monkey.
Before that was even a phrase, I needed
Yeah.
a guy in a chair.
Yeah.
But when I moved to Atlanta after graduating from art school, I wanted my art to pay my rent. And so I found a lot of things, even this is pre-gig economy. I was running off on Craigslist getting jobs and stuff. And I got a job as a game show host at a conference for youth business associative practices. It was really like that. It was like the most boring thing you could ever imagine. And I got a job doing the game show thing. And it happened to be at the, I want to say it was the Marriott or the Hilton. I always get those two mixed up, actually.
Yeah.
One of the big two Dragon Con hotels.
Yep.
So Gabby came with me, and she had a different job, and I ran game shows for 6 hours for 3 people.
Oh my
I had
gosh.
real buzzers. They gave me real buzzing equipment, which I usually have to build myself. And I finished that job. And it actually did feel pretty good. I don't think the client much liked me, but the kids did. So fuck it. But I packed all that up.
Important.
I packed all that stuff up in my broke ass car, and I was hanging out with Gabby. And we know this hotel really well. So before we leave, we're gonna relax. We go over to the coffee shop and we get ourselves a drink. And I go, man, it's weird to be here without seeing any cosplayers. And Superman down the hall walks by. Full costume Superman. And we're like, what? We have to follow this, right? Like, does it turn out that Dragon Con just literally never ends for some people and they're just in a room the whole, like, the evidence is suggesting that's a possibility. There's no way. So we go and we follow the costumers, and there's more and more. And we're like, what? There is nothing going on right now. And it turned out to be the engagement party of Leo Thompson, that sci-fi guy. So I basically crashed.
I haven't seen that photo before. Oh
I crashed his engagement party. And that's how I met him. And I was like, oh, we're Dragon Con goers too. So we're just, Mazel Tov. We're just saying our, like it's an absolute joy that we've not been to this hotel without a costumer in it. So you've made us very happy. And I just think, your voice sounds familiar.
So pleased to have you there.
We're gonna get to that actually. I'm like, oh, your voice sounds familiar. He's like, oh, have you watched that with the guy with the glasses? Sci-fi guy. That's fucking awesome. So that's where we got this picture. This picture, though, someone else also took it, and I ended up in his engagement book, the big engagement memories book. We do not know each other at all, and I am in this book. There aren't that many people in it, that many photos, but there I am in my Walden Smiley outfit.
Oh my god.
So me and Leo just became friends. We just started, we had that same energy of just, going out there and doing what we want to do. Maybe Senpai will notice us today because he'll tell that story on his own, but I don't think he would disagree that was far from the truth when he first started doing it. And I ended up working with him. So that's the first story of getting on the website was you. You even have speaking lines, man. We're calling it, we're counting it.
Yeah.
The name of this podcast is Boastful.
I can also say, for better or worse, I'm the one who explained furry to him.
Oh, nice.
After the video shoot had finished, they had changed back. He came back downstairs, was running his table. I was getting some art done by an artist that was sitting near him, and I overheard him and his brother talking like, "Oh, what are we gonna do for dinner?" and blah blah blah. And the hotel had a built-in restaurant, and I was like, "Why don't I just buy you guys dinner?" So I hear is let me buy you dinner. As we're sitting down there, he started asking us so are conventions like this? Is this normal? Like, what's normally going on? I was like, the only other conventions I've really done at this point, man, has been Dragon Con and Furry Cons. He's like, explain right now what furry is. And I'm like, oh god, this is going to go either great or
well, you're explaining it to Doug.
It went great because I don't like making an idiot out of myself in that situation.
But you're also explaining it to Doug. Only hears what he wants to hear. So
yeah, exactly.
You could have basically told him anything, and he would have.
Yeah,
he would have just walked away with whatever impression of furries that he wanted.
I basically went with the normal explanation. It's like a sci-fi convention, except everyone dresses up in mascot costumes.
Mhm.
And then he's like, "Oh, well, what about all the adult stuff?" I'm like, "No more than a normal Star Trek convention, maybe a little
Right.
more." But
Do you have any idea what's going on at DragonCon? You know,
Oh
Right.
yes.
like,
It is-
I don't want to pull a Cawthorn and
anything you
start
want to
talking
say
about.
is going on at a furry con, Dragon Con does tenfold.
Oh
Mhm.
yeah. Yeah.
I have actually
But
there
yeah.
is going to be an episode about DragonCon and about cool DragonCon moments. One of those is related to that. It's just one of my favorite moments of interactions with a total stranger that I had one time. I will tease it. You guys know the story, but you might not remember it because I'm more excited about it than anybody else. The name of the podcast is Boastful. So just somebody hit on me, and they did it in such a subtle way that it was like the most ingenious thing I'd ever seen in my life. Like it's like ancient knowledge that was shared with me when he did this hitting thing. So we're gonna come back to that. This is not the podcast for it.
I
Because
will
that's
tease
Dragon
that I
Con.
had a cooler. I had an interaction with a much cooler Doug at Dragon Con. So
Oh
yeah.
yes, yes.
We both did.
yes,
He was at a con this weekend. Doug Jones was, and
Yes.
he gave a friend of mine was running it, and he was a little worried people wouldn't show. I know this because this was the blog post he wrote, and he
Mm.
said at the end of it, everybody showed, everybody had a great time, and Doug gave him the Doug hug, and that's how he knew everything was going to be okay. And I knew you'd like that. But
The
seriously,
patented Doug hug.
these interactions with celebrities, like my time with Mansquito, is another episode. So we're going to come back to that. So I don't want to get too far off track.
Yeah. Yeah.
The
yeah.
topic was you got on the site and you had dinner with Doug first, so you definitely win. But when I started hanging out with Leo, there were two things that we did that were kind of cool, just worth just mentioning. This will make sense why I don't have him on the show, because I'm talking about something so small and he's got bigger things to talk about.
yeah.
I did the voice for Dr. Wiki on one of his episodes. Because
Awesome.
the funny part is this isn't it. The episode I was in isn't online right now. He wants to do a comeback and post them again, but he keeps delaying it. So if anybody ever watches this, let's assume that this gets put into the algorithm for
All
that guy with the
5 of
glasses.
you that are watching this in the future.
Well, no. Even small people who talk about that guy with the glasses end up seeing 5, 6, 10,000 views on their page. So if somebody ends up watching this eventually, let Leo know you want him to post those videos because he needs to do it. I will turn this up though because it's funny. I recognize the voice. It's Kim.
Some birds
It's
use
his
the
wife.
Earth's magnetic field for navigation in order to migrate long distances.
That's only funny because she's doing one of the voices. She's one of the writers on our video game, which is Shuko-san, coming out this year.
Check it out.
And so when I found anything about Dr. Wiki, I found it happened to be hers. But anyway, Dr. Wiki, they wanted me to do it super fast, even faster than I'm talking now. They actually had me do it a second time because I just wasn't fast enough. Talking about all these facts about wikis. So that was the first time that I was on the site, was doing Dr. Wiki stuff with Leo. There's going to be a lot of Leo coming up, but let me check my notes, make sure I don't jump ahead. Oh yeah. So just one other cool thing that you'll appreciate, James, is that in his review of Wild Wild West, he talked about how an EMP might affect a power plant. And he actually asked me about it while we were working for those power plant consultants.
Oh,
and I went and I talked to Eric about it. And
Yeah.
so he put the diagram in. James and I animated diagrams for power plant training.
Yeah.
But Leo's the one who did the diagram in his episode. But he used the information that was 100% accurate to the moment, because I went and I actually asked nuclear power experts, engineers and
using
experts
those
on the field.
connections.
It just the only thing I really remember from it is that if an EMP hits a modern power plant, and by modern I mean like 1950s onward, it will automatically drop the hydraulics, which will automatically close those valves and automatically open those valves and force water through. So if you bomb a power plant and it loses all power, that's a good thing. It goes into automatic shutdown mode. Which I can't remember how that's related to Wild Wild West, being that it is a Western, but he asked me about it. He asked me specifically, hey, do you know about nuclear power plants? And I'm like, I don't, because we use coal burners.
Yeah.
Another weird aside to that is Trump a couple of years ago was talking about clean coal. We were animating that shit.
We were, yeah.
That shit was real. Like we know
were in
exactly
the
what he's
business
talking
of
about.
Teaching
He's
people
talking about the
clean
gasifier
coal.
system. Yes. So we spent a goddamn year and a half animating the molecules that were being
Yeah.
separated in the gasifier at this power plant in Alabama.
Yep.
And then after we left the project, they shut the whole project down.
Yep.
So we were like, oh my God, all of that art we made and nobody saw
All
it. because there
that
was no-
time, and it's just like, nah, we don't need it now.
Oh,
So,
so
you know what?
much.
Clean coal's not a thing. We're not doing it.
Right. But it was just so weird that he was specifically talking about that power plant and about how it shouldn't have been shut down and how clean coal was great. And I'm like, that's happening. That's real. Also,
Why
the
do I
space,
have a connection to this?
the Space Force is real. In 1999, I was in the Air Force and I was brought into a briefing, and they specifically fucking said that they were going to break the Air Force into the Air and Space Force. And then once there was enough activity, they were going to spin it off into the Space Force and the Air Force, just like it was the Army Air Force and then the Army and the Air Force. It was supposed to be done right about now, but the whole thing was scrapped. Somebody mentioned it to him, and he said, no, that sounds cool. Do it. He did not make it up. He did not run off crazy. All of that shit existed. I knew about it in 99. The name of this podcast is Boastful. This is relevant information. But I'm not a Trump
It's
supporter.
still boastful.
I just know two things he did that directly relate to me, and no one's asking my opinion. That's what this podcast is about. All right. So yeah, I just thought the power plant thing, I thought you would find interesting.
Yeah.
Something we're not going to talk about, or at least I didn't find any clips because it doesn't seem to exist anymore, was that I was on a Tyler Perry movie, one of his Medea movies, and they tricked me. They really did. I'm an extra. I'm not making too big of a deal of it, but they literally lied to me. And when I got to the set, they go, here's your Klan robes. And I had to dress up like the Klan. And when that movie came out, Brad posted about it, and I was like, "Oh, I was in that movie. They made me dress up like the Klan." And he had me come onto a podcast, much like this one, where I ended up on his site again, not on that guy, which is really annoying.
Mm-hmm.
But I ended up on his podcast, and because of that, a friend of mine that I had known from the Prodigy days of 1989 recognized my name, and we got back in touch, and we are still friends today because of that podcast and because of Medea's betrayal to me. That happens to be Sundance, James, the person that we're trying to get to do a voice for us.
Right on.
So,
well, then it wasn't all for naught.
It was not all for naught. Okay, now it is time to talk about game shows.
Now that we've had our commercial break.
Let's talk about me.
Yeah, well, no, we're talking about game shows, about the kind of game shows that we used to do. You hosted some yourself, just to be fair.
Yep.
Name That Tune was the one I was the guy in the chair for you.
Yeah.
We did, we'll hold off on most of this because it does make a good show, because we can tell the story of my Good Morning. What do we call it?
Good Morphin America.
Good Morphin America, where we actually managed to have Goldar and Zordon on screen.
Yep,
doing their thing,
hosting a live morning talk show.
Mm-hmm. We need to try that again. We need to come back to that again. But we've been doing game shows for so damn long, as Weldon Smiley and as Duke Rosen, the guy in the chair, before that was even a thing. Mm-hmm. That when we found out that Doug was coming to MomoCon of 2014. I had been retired for a couple of years. I stopped doing it when I came to Atlanta, and I said, no, we're going to do one of our classics, which is Win X Money, which is whoever the guest is. I don't like working with guests. It's generally a problem because they have their own thing that they do. And so sometimes I have to just stop running a game show so they can tell stories like this. Right. The name of the game show is not Boastful. But I do sometimes work with them when they're cool enough. So we decided to do Win Nostalgia Critics Money, or was it Diamanda Hagen's money? Do you remember?
It was Doug Walker.
Diamanda's money. When I was trying to find one of the
Critics money.
Dollars.
Win Nostalgia Critics Money. It's in the intro, which I have. So I pulled favors for this. Not that James is not always willing to help me, but I said, James, we need to do our A game. We need to not fuck around. We need to do this one right.
Yeah, so this is for real. Doug's gonna be there. It's the thing.
This is the time we're gonna get. I don't think she likes that money, because anytime you post it, she doesn't say anything. So I don't think she likes the drawing. That's part of this, though. We're gonna come to it. Okay, so we put it together. Okay, and I had been doing all kinds of my own internet review videos that Senpai would never notice, but I had enough footage to put together to add myself to his intro. So here is When Nostalgia Critics Money intro, which is based off his and mine.
Forgot about the gunshot opening.
New logo and everything, baby. I don't fuck around. So yeah, we recorded it on multiple cameras, and I put all that together. And we had dug up. Let me check my notes about. I'm going to talk about this slightly out of order. Okay, yes, we had dug up, and we basically asked trivia about his own show.
Yeah.
And I generally make it fair, so it's like questions the person would know. I'm not going to ask, how many times did you order Earl Grey? I'm going to ask you what your favorite tea is, right? Patrick Stewart should know that. If he doesn't know that, that's his problem, not mine.
Right.
So he actually did pretty good. And one of the things that we did when we do a show like this, I like to do something called mass audience participation, which is where literally everybody gets a chance to try. And that requires a lot of running around and a lot of scorekeeping. And we do that with special scores. When we're doing Star Trek, we do isolinear chips. When I do anime, I basically kind of make my own coins, or sometimes I use like paper yen and stuff like that. But for this, we decided to get a loan from Hakistan and do right. Let's see which. Okay, so when I asked Amanda about that, I basically got her permission, and I even got her to do a cameo. So I managed. This was not an easy thing to do back in the day, to get somebody to come in and do a cameo for you, and especially since it's a live event, not a video. So I'm going to show you.
Greetings, gentle audience. Now, seeing as you're playing to win my money, I think it's only fair that I have some sort of a say in how this all goes down. So, name me an actor who has played the Doctor in Doctor Who. Classic and non-canon, nets you double points. This is true in the game, as it is in reality!
All delivered shadowy haze of steam and smoke that will make Cheech and Chong pass out from overload.
So the idea, that was Doug's first video, and the idea was I was going to ask him a question about the first video.
Motherfucking money!
That's the only...
Name the doctor.
Okay, so
God,
a couple of things
Big
about that.
Money Hustlers reference.
She actually read my script. I wrote that, and she read it for me, which she was kind enough to do. But that motherfucking money she added to the end of it.
It's a reference to Violent J in Big Money Hustlers, the Insane Clown Posse movie.
That's why she got her own money, really. So we got Hagenbucks. That we used. So a couple of things just about that is like, that's a good example of what I like to do, because everybody likes Doctor Who, or if you do, now's your time to shine. Name an actor who's played the Doctor. There are now 13 plus the 6 that I know of that are non-canon, and those are great. You're running around handing out the monies and stuff. Let's see. Yes.
Now, was that the first game show I co-hosted with you, or have we done something for? Okay, so that was the first one I brought out Sam Gimmico for. Okay.
Yes,
that was the first time we were a trio on a game show.
Nice.
I'm bad at names to begin with, but I couldn't remember what your Gimmico name was, so I just said Sam at the end.
It was Sam Gimmico, yeah.
That gaff is in this, so I'm going to call myself out on it. I'm going to play this without, because we could just keep talking. I just wanted to show it. This was the only copy of the money that I have. I've lost some of these files. I don't know if I deleted them on purpose or not, but I can't put my hand on the money that I drew.
I don't know why I still have one.
Because they're cool. Like I said, I don't think she likes them, but I like them. These are full color prints. They were double-sided and everything. OICU 812 is the number. That's her logo in the back, I'm pretty sure. I don't think I drew that. But everything else in this, I created on my own. The little curves on the side are little fingers going down the corner. The Dominion of Hagistan. Hagen Reserve note. This note belongs to me. Has you all possessions, public and private. Because I said so. Her whole gimmick is freaking great. But yeah, that was really cool for her to do. So that's another thing to just check off the list.
Yep.
Did a cameo. Got a cameo from one of the big names. And there is another reference which the joke is from Batman Returns, and I think I'll play it because Doug says it really well. A Bat credit card. His scoring system, because I wasn't going to give him paper notes and then count them. I needed the system, which was written in Flash, to record his stuff. So I gave him a Bat credit card, and his whole gimmick is that he uses his mind.
Eat shit in that chair.
Hey, we actually have a viewer. If you want to see this game show, it is not on this channel, which is my personal Wacko TTL channel. It is on the Wacko Reviews, a site I don't even remember the password to now. That has all of my internet review show stuff. Mm-hmm. In fact, I'm going to bring up one of those clips right now. Give me a second. Here we go.
Is it the?
I need a diagram to explain all the stupid in this 30-second scene. You should be impressed. That was really hard to do.
It's my favorite gag. That is my favorite gag you did on that show.
That was really hard to do. That took some engineering challenge to get all four of those. Basically, I had to keep going back to Lowe's and keep buying pulleys in order to get that to work because it's a double axle thing.
I need a diagram.
This is from my internet show, which is why I'm showing it now. And I'm reviewing Falling Skies, a show I absolutely hated.
Which Doug Jones is on.
It's got aliens, man. Like, what are you gonna do? But
we could be
I built this
about
set,
a cooler
which,
dog, but we're boasting about this one yet.
Yeah, we'll come back to this later. But I had an internet show, and I put it on that internet show, so that I put it on that internet channel so that hopefully it would end up on the site and then other people would see my work. But I don't know why they didn't put it on the site, to be completely honest with you. I don't
that
get
was
it.
the weird thing, because like after it was all said and done, you were like, so do you think that like we could put this up on the site? And he was like, oh yeah. And then it just didn't happen.
Yeah,
I don't know why.
That. He was
That's
all
the way
gung ho for it during the time we were recording it, and then afterwards, it's like.
That's the way he was, which I don't hold anything against him for it. I know that Leo, I'll have to ask him about it. I'm not calling him out on it. I know Leo kind of subtly said it's not really good. Like the game show was good, but I think he thought I should have like maybe tightened it up a little bit more or something. But I had already worked on it for a week and I was like ready to send it out. I'm watching it again to get that footage though. I don't think I agree, but there's a lot of hindsight. Right?
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of the gags that really hit back then that don't now. So maybe it works for me now and it didn't then. Thank you for appreciating Ryle the set, because goddamn it, I made a set and it was really hard to do and no one ever says anything.
I love that set. I used that set for my own videos.
Yes. And that we're going to get to that. So we
all have.
As soon as we're done with the game show, we're going to come back around to Why You're Alien number 3. But to tie it back into the game show, it was internet show, so it's on that channel. So if you look up the Wacko Reviews and you find me, you'll find in that the last thing I uploaded from 2014 is this game show in its entirety. It's like an hour and a half long, and I think it's pretty good. But you know, I always think my game shows are, and most people do not agree. At least that's what I assume is happening. No one says anything. No one ever tells me anything, so I have to assume that means bad things. Let's see. So we did the Bat credit card. We showed the money. What else do I have on here? Let's see. This is probably the Bat credit. Okay, that's Bat credit card again. I like this studio. Isn't it nice? I don't have to run any of this, but some of it is a little like you have to do a little ad hoc. Okay, so what this is the lightning round, and I just wanted to show a little bit of the lightning round. There was a one of the person who got the highest score, however that happened. When I run this at Anime Cons, the audience generally goes a little younger, and they think they're very clever when they realize that the three of them can pool all their tickets together to get the highest score. I never said you couldn't do that. Like, so I think this person earned it on their own, though. They got all the money. They look a little familiar to me, but I can't quite place them.
There was like a certain point, I don't know if it's in this video, where like Doug was just like, all right, I'm gonna just ask a question that there's no way anybody but me could know, and they still got it right.
Doug did a great job answering his own questions. I say this because we have worked with other celebrities, like legit, and they generally do not win. But Doug knew his stuff. Knew his own stuff.
One last condition.
Oh no, this is Tim Green. Okay, hold up. Actually, sorry, it's not the lightning round yet. When
Get ahead of yourself.
He went and he did a show called Demo Reel, which did not go over well, and there are some excellent complete 3-hour breakdowns. There's more than one excellent breakdown of why Demo Reel just did not work the way it was supposed to. And sadly, he decided he had to come back to the critic. And when he did it, he decided to use a movie called The Odd Life of Timothy Green. So I asked him, I did something else that was boastful. The theme of this is the theme of that game show. I can't remember what I did. And then I said, okay, it's time to make it about you, Doug. It's time to make it back about the critic. Let's watch your return. Oops.
This has to be the first review. This is the movie that brought you back, that made me realize I could actually do this again. I feel like I owe it.
But nobody saw it. I don't even know how many people remember it.
I have a confession to make. This isn't about you. I was in that movie. You guys want to see?
Were you really?
Play it.
At first, he seems to do little, but then the sun comes out.
Abby was there too, wasn't she? Yeah! Hey, there's
Oh my God. So much in the theme of this podcast, yes, I did the whole show, and then I made it about me, which I was in that movie. That and my wife Gabrielle were both in that film. That was the one we worked the most on. We spent a week out in that field filming that, actually interacting and stuff, and I spent another couple of days at a different scene. It was like the first movie I did. But those are stories for another time, because I'm going to bring Gabby on and we're going to talk about all the movies we've been in. That's not this one.
Groovy.
I just think it's funny that like we're getting like boastfulception here, that I'm boasting about a time I was boasting about a time that I was in a thing. But if you want to hear more about The Odd Life, because there are some interesting stories about that, we're going to do another show about that eventually. So yeah, that's in there. I think that's funny. I never did ask any questions. I just showed it again. I showed the clip a second time and moved on because it wasn't about him. Okay, I have to add these manually from now on. So the next thing is credit Tim Green. Okay, so we have the lightning round, which I just want to show a little bit about the game because I'm really kind of happy with it. It'll automatically be credit.
Yes. Senpai is correct. What robot died for our sins? Optimus Prime.
I don't even know the answer to these anymore.
Channel Awesome Days. Yes, we're done. Velocity is correct. Tom, you want your own show! Out of town. Special thanks to Doug Walker.
That was my profile picture on Facebook for the longest time.
And my crew.
Damn!
His wife Rosie. My camera girls Megan and Aaron. And my wife Gabrielle. I plan to put this online a little bit later. Maybe on a certain website. I'll talk to you about it. Okay. Look for it coming soon. Enjoy your weekend.
Never got on the fucking site, but that is our biggest Doug thing that I'm really quite happy with.
Yeah.
So the next thing to talk about, we have to like clear the plate completely, because that's all the Doug there is. And unfortunately, this is an even more problematic person, because we're going to talk a little bit about Famicom and Rider. Famicom and Rider was done by Mars Girl and her husband Josh. And that's the part we're going to talk about. What a lot of people do not know is that I worked on that movie. I did the intro to it. I did some of the special effects, and both me and Trey were in that movie, which did end up on the site, so it's relevant to this page. So I'm going to show the intro real quick, and then just to show you the kind of work I put in. I was doing this right after they let us go for the 4th time, James. And yeah, this was another big render. I happen to be working on one right now too that just took forever to get out. There's some errors in it, but I never told anybody about it, and I'm not going to tell you guys either. But I made the logo. I made all of these. I drew all of these to represent each person, and that was really hard because the movie wasn't out. I didn't have a script or anything. So at one point, I had to send them a message and be like, you got to send me the movie. I can't make the intro without the movie. And I was actually just finding stills and I was cutting them out and drawing them from scratch. There's an Apollo Z hack reference here. Oh, I light up his eye patch, which I know that Matt really liked.
Chris Gloria, who also starred in this film, I was actually friends with him outside of all of this before it ever even happened.
Yeah.
So like when I found out he was doing that, I'm like, dude, this is gonna be great. So
he did a really good job. Yeah. So they had to send me a super rough cut of the movie, and that's where I got the stills to cut these out and draw all these from scratch. And you can see I start reusing them because I ran out of time.
Yeah.
This was supposed to fade a little bit earlier than it did, but it works out pretty good, I think. Let's watch the whole movie now. But I think that Mars Girl or Caitlin and Josh did an excellent job putting this together. Really moved mountains to make it happen. And although the situation behind it is so bad that they'll never want to talk about it, I get it. Nobody ever knew I did the credits, right? So I'm just taking a moment of time and saying it's been years. I made the credits for that, and I'm really proud of them. I think they're really great. The other thing that we did was the effects. I only did one. Matt Burkett did all of the effects, and honestly, he's a little better than me. So they gave me just this one effect here, and I actually have some of his effects to show you why I say that, because it's not just me being like, oh, he's better. There's certain things he does I don't know how he does. I was meant to ask.
Well. This is better than I could have hoped for.
Oh, wait, who are you?
Now that you've told me exactly what it takes to bring the writer here, it'll be my personal pleasure to take him out. That's why I brought along this. I may not have been able to perfectly reverse engineer Mr. Miyamoto's designs, but I do believe you'll be quite satisfied with the results. Henshin.
Behold, Hakai gear.
Wow. Crap. He actually looks kind of tough. No offense.
So yeah, I did just all of that. They hand me the raw version of that file, and I had to add all of that in. I drew in his belt and all of those effects. And you notice that the clouds go away. I'm gonna play it one more time actually because it's short enough. The clouds go away.
Well.
And I didn't have
this
to
is better than I could have hoped for.
Oh, wait, who are you?
Oh, we lost him. Yo, James. It's just us now.
Vamp.
So, James, how about that local sports team?
Oh, I love local sports.
Over like OBS. If that had crashed, that'd have been the end of the video, right? I accidentally hit the back button, which is the downside of using a browser-based system.
It's okay. We just said bad things about you while you were away.
Oh yeah, for the 3 seconds. I can check it later. That's a different cast. That is a different cast from this one. The name of this is Boastful, and we're going to talk about only good things here.
I thought it was roast.
Well. This is better than I take him out.
Awful.
That's why I brought along this.
We've seen it already. The other shot that I have is going to show off a little bit of Matt's effects, which is the very end after this happens. Spoilers for Famicom and Rider, you guys.
Spoilers for a movie you'll never see.
But yeah, I really like that echo effect. I'd always wanted to use it. I think James, you knew that. I always wanted to do that Guitaro thing. So when they gave me the chance, but watch the fog at his ankles. Watch how fast it goes. It's gotta go. Because the next shot is his ankles, and I didn't want to animate that.
Speed up the shot so I don't gotta do a second one.
That's Matt playing Famicom as well.
Oh God, Chris dead on the floor.
Oh yeah, no, okay. So I actually think this movie's pretty good as far as plot's concerned. He actually manages to activate the henshin that he's not supposed to have, and it mentally projects the writer into the room. That's why he's dead on the ground, because he's the one that's in the suit. I thought that was really clever. I don't think I ever told Kaylin that I thought so. So this actually doesn't happen. I'm trying to think. This shouldn't have audio.
Laptop.
I thought, yeah, it has an Atlanta Zombie Apocalypse sticker on there.
You can beat Hakai Gear! You can win!
So look at his effects versus mine. His are a little bit more alive than mine. That's all I can tell you.
He's been working at this a little bit longer.
Not really. He's just better than me, man. If this was... And I think this gag is absolutely hilarious. This is so funny. Because you gotta have a bike if you want to be a writer.
And I'm sad that due to circumstances. Yeah.
But see the smoke? He left his on.
You can't be serious. I can't even.
That's a great gag. That's a great gag. He just walks away. He's like, no, we're done. We're done.
No, it's fine. It's good. So, Famicom and Rider is powered by Tinkerbell Logic. Is everybody in your review? I love those smarts. I don't know how he
How can I move so fast?
Right, no rock quarry.
No, they knew what tropes to play with and how to play with them. That's really why I'm really upset by the fact of what happened outside of this film, because there's so much effort that was put into this,
which is why ruined. Which is why I'm like, I'm glad you guys are like, yeah, let's just talk about this for a second, right? Like, let's talk about some cool things we did that are not related to any of the controversies, because they're not here. They're not here doing it.
Curse you, Ryder!
I genuinely think that Mars has the ability to do, her and Josh both, like, if they wanted to do something like Henshin Hero related, they both know enough about the genre and what's entertaining to be able to do a good film. And this was that. They could have gone beyond this with their own ideas, but I think this probably soured them on doing anything else in the future. And it's
well, you know, it's not like they're not winning at life right now either.
Oh yeah,
they're living in LA now. They're kicking ass. That's why I
don't need this. They've moved well beyond this and have excelled in thousands of other things. It's great.
One of those things being Shuko's son coming later this year, because I got her to do a voice and a likeness character in our game.
I've seen that. It looks really good.
But it's relevant here, as you saw. Both me and Trey were in the video cheering him on. So there again, we are on the goddamn site, which was the point. Senpai never noticed us, but we kind of doesn't matter. It's kind of like the end of Evangelion, where if you can get the gates of heaven to open and you can get inside, it doesn't really matter if you get God's approval or not. So basically what I'm telling you is that we managed to do instrumentality, Trey. That's what it was all about. I'm Gendo, you're PSK.
We didn't turn into LCL, thankfully.
James, you be Pen. But the site did. The site did. Hey-oh. The absolute terror field certainly dropped on those guys. So I understand that a lot of people will find even talking about that movie to be controversial. I do apologize about that. I hope you understand are good-natured. We just want to talk about the shit we did, because if we go online and we look at this stuff, it's all about everything else, and no one ever mentions it, ever talks about the stuff we did. And funny enough, sometimes we'll even be on the screen. We'll be on the screen and they still won't say anything about us. So that's why we're coming back to do this now.
Well, I guess like you're saying, Matt's effects. Matt is completely knocking those effects out of the park, and again, overshadowed by other things surrounding the film. And dude deserves his props for the effects.
He's got an excellent kaiju channel, by the way, Monstrosities, that he does. So I do recommend watching him as well. But really what we're saying is...
I need a diagram to explain all the stupid in this 30-second scene. You should be impressed. That was really hard to do.
The fact that I've seen this thing as many times as I've had, it still cracks me up every time.
Yeah, laughing at my own jokes is the point of this cast. It just hit me like a bolt of lightning. How much effort would
that
it
is like one of my
possibly take?
favorite gags that you've ever done in any of your videos.
It's still hanging up there.
Just the anger in your face.
Is. Yeah, it's still down there.
I worked on
Waiting
that
to
shit.
descend once again.
It's still there.
With the stickers on it and everything. I worked on that all day. I was mad at it. A lot of the things I did on that show were real. At one point, I was hungry and Gabby was cooking lima beans, so I just wrote a thing into the script where I had a replicator on the bridge, and I just pulled out the lima beans and started eating them while I was doing the review because I was hungry. Okay, intro, Henshin, defeat. Okay, now it is time to talk about Dragged In. So the very last that guy thing we do is the one. Well, you were in the game show, James, but you were still the guy in the chair.
Yeah.
I found out recently, has many years, it's damn near 20, that you've been working with me on these shows. You have actually understood the assignment like once. where you're like, I don't know who this guy is or what he's saying, but the crowd seems to like it, is evidently the default. Obviously you would get the anime references, but it turns out no Star Trek, Doctor Who cares, like all of them, because he's done those with me on all of those. Did you do the Battlestar one with me?
Did I? I mean, I remember it, so I had to have been there.
Well, I did a Firefly and Battlestar, two different game shows for Firefly and Battlestar using the same system, which was written in Flash again. That's how long ago that was. But finally, after all of that was over and I had that set and Leo and I had become friends, he got the call to do the last, well, we didn't know it was last at the time. You could almost feel it in the air because the previous movie wasn't very good. Big reunion special. Doug decided that the best way to do it was to just have everybody put in clips. They would make their own short films and they would do it as an anthology, kind of like Treehouse of Horrors or something like that.
Right.
The details on that we're going to hold off on, because the very next episode I plan to do is to get all the writers from Dragged In here. So that would be Kim and Nick and Leo. And if they want to bring anybody else, they can do that. But they'll tell that story. But the point is, they had a scene where they needed aliens to be, and he knew I had that freaking set and that no one was using it because no one was watching my show. I told Doug that too, because that was the time that he was doing, because we went out to dinner with him afterwards. And that was the time that he was recruiting new talent. And I said, I have a show. I want you to be in it. I'm not making it right now because I'm not getting the ratings I needed. He just laughed at me. Why would I want something with no ratings, Mr. Demo fucking real? But the point is that if I could get eyes on it, people would watch it. And he had the ability to do that with a click. All that production value, he could have just shared and decided not to. So. I had that set down there and Gabby had her costumes ready. So that's when we did Dragged In. So I've got the intro to Dragged In here. Oh, which the reason I have this, funny enough, is because it uses my Earth. I made an Earth that I like to use that rotates backwards.
The same Earth you made my like Starfield and stuff with. Yeah.
I just like using the stock Earth. There it is, right there. Here it comes. Another like cameo, not in this exact scene, but Leo doesn't live in a house that looks believable, and neither do I. So I ended up filming with permission my neighbor's house. So there's a 3-second shot of my neighbor's house that says like the Donovan residence, which we're gonna see in a second. So I make the first appearance in this, has the alien, and no one can understand what I'm saying. It's all encrypted. And Leo's character got his degree in xenolinguistics from the prestigious DeVry University.
Yeah.
Which I use to this day. I always love that. You got your degree from DeVry University. And he has to crack it, and he finally does. He cracks it. He cracks the code, and he finds out what's going on. And it turns out that these aliens wanted the cats because they've been watching the internet, which at the time was a nice place. We had cat videos. I remember that. I think they might have taken the videos with them because, yeah, you don't see those very often anymore. And so they've stolen all the cats. And while we were filming the scene that we're going to get to in a second, where we're all aliens, I had pitched to Leo an idea from Trey, who said that he had this furry costume, but you never had the chance to use it, or you said that it was...
I had the costumes. Basically, I told you, like, look, I've got cat things or things that could be considered cat related if we want to do random shenanigans. And you told me to bring the fursuit. So I brought Reese, who was actually a skunk. Reese was part of a big costume like group that we were doing, like fursuit related. It was like, if we ditched a tail, you can't say he's not a cat.
Right.
And you tried so hard. You were like, you went to Leo and you're like, Leo, let's do this. Let's do this.
Not so hard. I told Leo about it.
Yeah,
I
but
sold him...
he wouldn't go for it.
Maybe
so at
because
the end
the
of the
stress
day,
of producing it. To be
at
fair,
the end of the day, when we're taking everything like down and everything, you made one more attempt, but you didn't go to Leo. You went to Nick, and it said
Nick.
So Trey got a cat costume with him, and he, according to you, he slowly turned to look at you and went, "I was not informed of this.
I was not made aware of this." He did it.
I was not aware of this.
Nick, in my opinion, Nick is a cool looking guy to begin with. So there he is. And he looks like this. Well, he's actually in the movie has this kind of man. So I'm not exaggerating. He turns around. He was sitting over that door over there, and he goes, "I was not made aware of this." And so, if I remember correctly, it was my idea for what I wanted to do. And I knew it wouldn't take long to film, but I know Leo well enough now to tell you that he's just trying to get with the words on this page on camera. He does not have time for it. But we were down. We were just goofing off anyway. So we were like, "Hey, Nick," and so we grabbed Nick, and we grabbed
the dude who was doing the makeup for us,
Theris Von Vellum, who was doing the makeup for us,
who for some reason had a decapitated giant teddy bear head in his car that he had been using as a mask.
This giant teddy bear head, and also just naturally had a giant anchor tattooed on their chest. And sitting in the living room was this camera that I'd found down in the basement. It was just a wind-up camera. So that was the idea, was we just film the furry filling in for the cat.
Right. There's no more cat videos, so let's just have the furries make videos.
Which I have that part of that shot now.
Of this tragic occurrence, the furry community has taken it upon themselves to supply the internet with new and hopefully entertaining feline videos.
No! It's now time to shine! The cats are gone!
Tragic.
That went on for about 2 or 3 more minutes.
Yeah. Well, and
I ran all the way down your street and then came all the way back.
We filmed it on an iPhone, which
filmed it
was
on
one of the reasons.
My iPhone.
Right, because I didn't have a good iPhone.
If we're gonna be boastful, we filmed that on my phone.
Yeah, but the reason it's relevant, the iPhone is relevant, is because one of the reasons Leo did, this is all coming back to me now, is that he didn't have time with the cameras and everything he was doing, and this was like the first time even the idea of filming on a phone would be acceptable.
I had just gotten, I think it was the iPhone 4, which was like the first one that could film in 1080p. And I was just like, I've got a camera that can shoot in 1080p. We can totally do this.
And I'm gonna turn this down and play it again, because if I remember correctly, that's one of the reasons you're in the corner, was to match the high definition fidelity that they had, which is crazy to think of now. This whole thing would be filmed on an iPhone now. Well, Leo's probably he's doing lens repair, so he's probably got even stronger feelings about Canons now. But
God.
Yeah,
Meow's
so
time to shine.
and that is all out of
dumb.
my cul-de-sac.
Yep.
And I'm so glad it made it in. So that is once again us getting
Did
on
we
the
draw
site.
a crowd? Like, did your neighbors
The
come out like a
neighbors-
few
It
minutes
was.
later?
Yeah. There was.
Yeah, the neighbors don't talk to me much. I think the neighbors are rightfully cautious of me because the other day I saw one of their little boys out in the yard wearing a VR headset. He was wearing an Oculus Quest 2 on his head, and he was clearly running an experiment. And I let Mixie out probably 4 or 5 times a day. So they see me just kind of standing around out there all the time. But me and Gabby and Mixie were out, and I saw him. I'm like, I'm going over there. I'm like, what you doing? Because I'm a big VR guy now. I've been working on VR since the DK1. It's like, how long's it been now? I don't even want to do the math. I don't want to do the math. One of the reasons I stopped doing internet video stuff was because I started investing in VR stuff. But I know my VR stuff. And I realized after I talked to them, which was a good natured conversation about how this is my bread and butter. I'm so excited to see you doing this in the lawn because that's a moment. That's like me working on iPhones. And then I look over and you're just on your porch using an iPhone after all those years.
Right.
That it's like, it's gotten such mainstream adoption. It's not weird to see somebody seeing how big they can make their room scale. But I actually told him, I said, oh no, I'm into all this. I got all that equipment. I've got every version of the headset. I even have a haptic chair in my garage. And I realized after that's kind of creepy. Hey, little boy, you want to go see my haptic chair? So I'm pretty sure they're like, that guy's kind of weird. Have you seen his friends?
I just remember like the kids came out like, are you gonna be out here much longer? Or like, we don't know. It's like, we just want to watch. I'm like, oh, sure.
Yeah, that's the same neighbors. That was the same.
Yeah.
So
cool. I liked
this
them.
is clearly the second generation since this was some time ago.
Yeah.
This kid has to be 9, so it's born while we were filming this. Okay, so now after all the cats are gone, you realize what's happened is that there were aliens, and the aliens didn't realize that cats had a lot of upkeep and that they were cats. So that part was not shared on the internet with them.
The adorable videos didn't talk about the downsides to cat ownership, especially when you own every cat on planet Earth.
Right. which thankfully we own off screen.
Right.
So we'll show it first. So this is the clip. There's the house.
There's cat vomit everywhere! I've never seen a creature vomit this much when it is not sick!
And they want to play with string. Have you seen what happens when they eat the string?
They want wet food! They want dry food! Make up your mind!
Finally! That's the last of them. Who would have known how difficult it would be to herd these creatures?
Why do they wait till we're in our rejuvenation chambers before they run back and forth through the ship? That is when I am trying to rejuvenate!
I have no idea where to obtain bovine lactation fluid anywhere near our own system.
And they're always scratching at the airlock! You can't go out there, cat! There's space out there!
There is so much hair clinging to every shred of my vestments. Where were the cute videos about this?
So there is so much to talk about with this shot.
Oh my god, right?
There's a lot to unravel for such a short scene.
Okay,
there you
this
are,
is it.
vomit monster.
This
I
is
missed
it,
you.
watchers in the future, because I know some people will watch it. This is our peak.
This is it.
This is where we topped everything.
And this was the end of it. We never went any farther, but we're happy to go out on top on this.
Honestly, the end result, I don't know if I could have topped in this situation.
Oh man. Let's see here. When we scream.
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
so there's just so much to talk about here.
Yeah.
Let's see where to start. Let's start somewhere small. Okay. I had not memorized the line or hadn't gotten it right. And when I said that when they run back and forth throughout the ship, I'm holding that ball because I just had it. I just turned it on. I was like,
Yeah.
this set's completely made by us. But when I said when they go back and forth throughout the ship, But they're doing it when I'm trying to rejuvenate. I go, that's when I'm trying to rejuvenate, which was not in the script.
Right.
And I did not ad lib it because I thought it was a better idea. I just literally forgot the line.
Yeah.
And then just ended it. So it's like when they're trying to rejuvenate. Oh, I'm sorry. What was the line? And everybody's like, it doesn't matter. That's the one. That's the one thing I remember. I don't know if I ever said the line that they had written because that's the one we ended up going with.
I apparently pooched so many shots because my like ADHD, I will track movement around me.
Mm-hmm.
So like they had to redo my shot at least 4 times per line because someone would start moving where the camera was and my vision would immediately go movement. So the sick line is actually looped from another take because he said that was the best visual take, but oh my god, I wanted to use that read. So
I always think about it too when you say that.
But those horns were made out of tissue paper and latex, which I thought was freaking amazing.
Yep. And they worked so well.
They were.
And that costume is a Devil May Cry 2 costume.
And there was only one. There was only one vest.
There's only
we
one.
had to swap vests for every time someone finished their spot. We had to go back and change
this
outfits.
Is a split screen.
Yeah.
Yep. We are not on that screen at the same time. It was all done in
I think
post.
those are my Sergeant Kabuki Man gloves too.
We had one outfit, so we could only shoot each of us once at a time.
Which was fine because we were going to do that anyway. I'm actually grabbing a screenshot of this because that's really funny. Which was fine because we were only shooting us one at a time. It's just at the end it called for this, so we decided to do it split screen. Also noticed that they did a Battlefield Earth and they did a tilted camera angle for every shot that we were in.
Right,
but
yeah. All
also
the alien shots are at Dutch angles.
The door opens on its own. The green screen. Leo outdid me a little bit because I always just threw it on the green screen, but he actually added depth to the screen to make it look like a thing. I've got it muted. We'll just play it again. I didn't want to do that until we saw the split screen. On the wall was a message, and somebody actually translated it over in the forums. But nobody mentions that this set is insane. Like, where did this set come from? Nobody ever asked that question.
No one talks about the spaceship set or the alien
TARDIS console.
Or the TARDIS console and all those little working, intricate little parts on it and stuff. Like, legit, man.
Oh, dude, when we shot the Durlix video, the number of times I just spent like playing with everything when like Trey was shooting, I'm like, yeah, but stuff.
All of that is still down there. I've had some water. There's a little bit of mold, but I can wipe it off. It's fine. It's all still down there. Yeah, so that is the when they're not sick lines. We'll rewind that real quick.
I've never seen a creature vomit this much when it is not sick.
And they want to play the string.
I don't know how I did that, but I did it anyway.
All of that stuff was really there. So that's the final thing to wrap up on. The whole reason I got on this in the first place is YouTube has been pretty good. There's the message, by the way.
Oh
the secret message we wrote. YouTube has been pretty good with their algorithms lately. As in, they've been giving me things that I want to watch, and it brought up that demo reel done by Lady J. I want to say. Apologize, not that she's watching this, but she did a big breakdown of demo reel, and then it started recommending other people who basically copied her and wanted to talk about demo reel too. And then they started talking about all of the that guy with the glasses anniversary specials, and the algorithm kept getting me more and more bitter and more amateur people talking about it. And all of them would mention, if they did mention Uncanny Valley at all, would mention Doug's like okay video, and then it would gloss over us. They would go, and Dragged In was also there.
Right.
and when they're being particularly mean, it's so funny when they're being mean because they'll go, oh yeah, and Dragged In was there, and it was okay, I guess. And then they would show like a funny scene from it. Like they would catch it, James going, my vestments, as he would blush it off.
James in his Goldar voice.
And I was like, and then they would go, there's one in particular, I'll dare you to go find it. It's got 3,000 views, which is why I know people will watch this. It is a very angry young man with a very bad camera in 2021, and he's holding the camera like he's Fred Durst. He's holding the camera like this. He's so angry, and he actually pulls the plug out, and we lose the first part of his ramp. And he's so angry about this thing. And I'm like, you can be angry. I get it. Like, you're a rage monster. I get it. But then he does talk about us. I fast forwarded to find it. And he's like, and then there's dragged in, and there's some aliens with like makeup. I don't know if he said shitty makeup or not. And then they talk about not having those cats. And it's fine, I guess. And then he moves on to the next thing.
The best review we got.
It's fine, I guess.
Best
Said
review we got.
angry YouTuber.
They're okay, I guess.
In
Talk
2021,
about cats. I like cats.
So this is welcome to review, where I review a dude reviewing our review of a review show. But that's actually what sparked this idea. I was like, oh my God, he actually mentioned, him and one other person actually mentioned, we'll never know what the deal was with this. And I'm like, you could literally ask. The names are in the credits. You could ask us at any time.
Cover.
Oh yes, you're on the DVD cover. So
I'm on
I don't
the
have
DVD
that
cover,
loaded.
and I'm still kind of bitter about it because I messaged like the main site. I'm like, oh, contact us or something like that. I was like, hey, you've put me on the cover of this. Is there any way I can get a print? Like, I will buy a print.
Right.
No contact whatsoever. No response. I found the artist who posted it all up on DeviantArt. I messaged them like, hey, you just drew me on this DVD cover. Can I get a high-res copy of this so I can frame it? Because I'm on a DVD cover. Nothing. Nothing. Not even a response to anything. It's like, you drew me.
Lee Hara's got all the movie posters on his wall, but not on Uncanny Valley because he wasn't in it.
Well, they never
Which
made
is
a
really
poster for it
annoying.
either. That was the one film they didn't make a poster for. I'm like, okay, fine. You're not going to give me something so I can make it. Put it up for sale and I will buy it. No, we're not going to put that one up for sale. It's like,
I don't even know if you could have gotten the DVD because they didn't send them out. I don't think even Leo
I have
has
the
a
DVD
copy.
in the other room.
You do have it?
Yeah, hang on.
Yeah, get it so we can see the poster. Because I forgot about the poster thing, so I didn't bring up the way that this whole system is working is it basically has to be a video, at least for now. So I can't just find a JPEG. Like I actually show you what I mean by that. That is why when I show the name of this file is Leo cute, like meet cute. So this is a video because I couldn't just
it's panning out a little.
Well, I couldn't. I could render out a video that doesn't move theoretically, but I'm not capable of doing that personally. Video's got a video, man. Yeah, video's got to have motion in it. I don't know why this project I'm working on has gone its 18th render at 16 hours.
Yeah, I have the DVD.
Oh yeah, hold on. Let me get that full screen again. Hold on.
Me.
Oh, I almost removed you. 1 second. There you go. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm right there.
Yeah, it looks
Right
great.
there in the middle.
I just wanted a print. Just something I could put on my
So to
wall.
swing into
You know,
the
I
negative
wouldn't
on that
have it
for
up
just a
now,
minute.
but
Probably didn't credit the artist on the poster. Didn't ask any of the people that were in the video for permission. Put it up
I
on the
never
site, but
heard
didn't give it any
anything.
press.
Leo was
Yeah.
the one person who ever communicated to me about anything on
Yeah.
this.
Now the story of that, because we're not qualified to answer those questions because like that's how clicky it was. Like you there's no, even though I'm standing right next to Leo, I still couldn't ask him, because it's like that. So I will find a time that's available to them because Kim, one of the writers, and Nick were both interested. Leo wasn't available at the time, but I'm sure he'll join us. And we'll do another one of these. We'll do Boastful episode 2. Will be just dragged in. And as they talk about how they made it, all the, I'm sure, like endless hours they had to work on it. I'm sure at no point no one will care that your vestment thing was happening to that angry guy. That's why we're doing this in the way that we're doing it. So we will get to the bottom of that. I think if they're willing to do it, I will bring them on and do a show where we're talking about that stuff too. So yeah, those angry reviewers is what got me doing this. I realized that it wouldn't take too much effort. If that guy could yell and get 3,000 views, I could pull you guys together and talk about that time we were aliens that one time. You know what? I should pull up another video. I didn't even think about this.
This is also the one that got me on IMDb. So hey,
that was the wild part. And
Yeah.
and we didn't even do it. Like there was just some fan or someone that just made an IMDb, just looked at the credits of Uncanny Valley and just made everyone an IMDb page that didn't have
I have
one.
multiple credits on there now, and
I have multiple credits. I'm not too
this.
shabby. I'm not too shabby on IMDb. I actually need to update it myself because I need to put in a few more things. The reason I need to do that is because it ties into Plex, and I have all my movies on Plex with me on the poster. Like I'm in Contagion, and I have me on the poster of Contagion.
The only thing that I've been in tangentially, like I appear in it, but it's in kind of an archive status that's not on there. A photo of me in my Sergeant Kabuki Man costume is used for a
this is about to play a video I didn't tell it to
sequence
play
in Sergeant Kabuki Man's cocktail corner. So that's the only one on there. So if you're on IMDb editing, add Kabuki Man's cocktail corner to my page, please. At the very last episode of the series. They won't let me do it. They're like,
yeah, you should tell that story because you mentioned it the other day. The Sergeant Kabuki Man. This is boastful. Why not?
Yeah.
I mean, the whole thing starts like I liked the movie. It's complete and utter trash, as most Troba films are. There's a great story about how it was made and everything, but I liked it enough that I was like, I'm going to do a costume for Dragon Con because why not? No one else has done this costume that I've seen. So I made a version of it, and as I was there,
no, move it to the labs.
Oh,
sorry.
We can.
So while you were there,
I'll boast later. Fine.
Be full of boast.
No, Lloyd stopped me and was like, "Hey, come hang out at my booth." So I wound up spending like 2 hours at the Troma booth for like 2 years, and then helping him during a technical issue during one of his panels, and then a photo of like when I was just doing test shots of the costume. Like I finally got it assembled, did the makeup for the first time and everything. So there's this photo of me just kind of going in the costume that shows up when Kabuki Man is like on an acid trip, and it's just me spiraling in the background going.
So this is
I don't have any dialogue. I didn't even know it was happening until I watched the episode. I'm like, hey, wait a minute.
So it's an episode of a show?
An online show called Kabuki Man's Cocktail Corner.
Oh, that's awesome.
Which was done by Doug Sackman. I think I'm pronouncing his name right. But basically, he pitched this idea of Kabuki Man just hosting like a cocktail corner, interviewing people, and random shit happens from time to time. And at some point, he goes on a trip, and like, there's this big spiral going on. It's just the photo of me spiraling along in the screen.
That's cool.
So I don't know if it counts enough to be on IMDb, but I think it should.
It should.
It's technically an archive photo.
Oh, yeah, so the reason that I want to update my IMDb is again because Plex will actually do it, so I can find my name and click on it, and everything I've been in will show up. But nobody knows I was in the Vampire Diaries, right? So I have to go in and update it. It's been something on my list to do for years. That way, my IMDb is complete, so I can use it on my server.
Yeah.
The reason that I brought up that Shuko Sun clip is simply because when we were writing the script for it, I needed images, and I just grabbed James in that outfit as the mayor. And when I decided to make new characters, because we had a totally different character creation thing going, and when we thought, oh, I'll just create a new character to test it, I thought I'll literally create this character and change it later, and then we didn't. And we didn't. So he's in the game now, which is what this is.
Distress. This is Regional Chairman Coldrav of Hassian.
Is this the
Opium Station is under attack by the Ren.
I've run like 15 versions of this. It doesn't matter. You see he's got the hood on. I gave him a shawl. They basically use wraps in their universe to represent ties and business. So he's the biggest business. So he's got a hood and he's got a big scarf going on. And his number one partner, his number one guy has the scarf. And if you end up getting him arrested, if you get the mayor arrested, then that guy wears the hood when you see him next time. But so yeah, Dragged In lives on a little bit. Yep. I really did in good faith think I was going to change him, but then you guys didn't have me do it.
We saw it and we're like, no, that's good. We like that.
The only reason that he's wearing blue now is because I thought I was changing it well enough. One guy was green, the other guy was yellow, one guy was wearing orange, the other guy was wearing red. But the feedback I got back from them was that they looked the same to me. And I was like, oh, shit. So I made one guy blue and I made him green. He's still, even though I put all that work into changing his face, he still looks how I started. So yeah, that mayor lives on. I guess the Masuvians were the ones who came down and looking for all the cats on Earth.
It's your secret. It's the Easter egg.
Yeah.
If you know Dragged In when you play our game, you'll be like, hey, wait a minute. Isn't that the cat guy?
this isn't the place for it, because we're right about where I wanted to end it. I just wanted to talk about these 3 things. Thank you once again for joining me about on this bullshit. But Trey, I'm going to have questions for you eventually. I want to bring you back on at some point to talk about your cool wrestling stuff, because I know everything I know about wrestling I get from you. Well, I get from you and Spoonie. Spoonie will say something, but I have to get you to translate it for me. So I'll say, what is that? What's he talking about? Attacked by ninjas? Like, why didn't they call the police? And Trey will explain it to me. Like today, I asked if you use Venushi and Aikido, if Stone Cold used Venushi and Aikido, which is where you as an older man go like this, and then 2 stuntmen grab on your wrist and do backflips. But you didn't see it, right? You didn't.
No,
see
I didn't watch WrestleMania. I actually haven't watched. Outside of maybe the occasional clip, I haven't watched WWE in about
for the
2 or
same
3
reason.
years,
I am running the Problematic podcast. My first episode is literally everything we've mentioned has a problem because Dragged In has Nazis in it, which is a story that they're hoping to tell. Yes. So this is the problematic episode of the show. So like WrestleMania, I know is a problem. I'm just curious.
New one on me. Oh my God.
They'll have to tell that story. That's not for this one. That's for the next episode. But yeah, I was really, because you're the one who told me that he had broken his neck. So right, or was that somebody else who told me that? Anyway,
maybe I've probably mentioned it at one point or another. Yeah.
Point is, you do have some like real boastful wrestling cred, but this isn't the episode for it. So you're the only person I talk to about wrestling. So I don't know how I'll fit it in, but I'll find a way to bring it back in. We'll talk about, I don't know, choreographed stage fighting or something. I never do any, but like maybe we could fit a theme in that way. Let me check my notes just to be sure. Yeah, the last thing I had on there was showing that's really hard to do clip. I really need to take that basement apart because I'm not going to use it again because I'm so into VR and 3D and character creation now that like you're lucky we're on screen. I'm one step away from actually being able to recreate literally us, look just like us, and do the facial tracking. And I would just send you your own face, and then you would pop up as a 3D character. That's that is
as long as I had a muzzle, I'd be down.
That's hard for me to do because everything I'm doing right now is working so hard to make Homo sapiens that it's hard for me to make that kind of avatar. But it's not okay. So that's 2 steps away. Is what I'm trying to tell you. Like, right now, the easiest thing to do is to turn on the camera.
I need you to be successful at this so you can boast about it later on another episode of Boastful. How I made a furry avatar.
The next step. Oh, I should show you. Hold on. Because what they have. Oh, okay. You remember in Beetlejuice where they try to be scary and they stretch their faces?
Yeah, they
out?
just.
That's what they want to do to make a rabbit. So they take a human ear and they stick it out like this, and they But I the reason I bought that pack is because if you turn it down, they become pointy ears. I mean, all Masumians have pointy ears, and most of them have like almost goblin ears where they turn. But actually making animals that you would find acceptable because your standards. I don't even want to say different; they're just higher. Let me ask: like, would a rabbit snout be good enough for you, or does it have to be a whole rabbit head? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right. So the shit that I'm doing now is all Homo sapien stuff, where they're modifying the human body. I'm not doing a lot of cartoon or non-human animations yet. So I am really close to being able to just do this whole video with guest stars that look just like themselves in 3D. I'm this close. The only thing that I don't know how to do is how to rig it to face rig yet, so that it's easy. So I can just send you face rig along with a model and you just load it up.
Yeah.
Like I can do it in post, but I can't do it live. But I'm very close to being able to do that. And then the next time we have this conversation, it'll be fully virtual, like it's Ready Player One. And then, after I've done that, I can animate a character that is a furry, just not a furry that's based on you yet.
If you make it like Ready Player One, then it'd be accurate because they got rid of the furries too.
They had furries in that movie. We talked about this. There were furries in the movie. They were rabbit people and stuff. Ready Player One, another problematic thing. It's all coming back.
I'll never understand that, but whatever. That's a topic for another time.
Yeah. What you know what we should do a Boastful one time talking about like continuity and callbacks that are not member berries. Like I will briefly tell you what the argument is, and then we can discuss it in detail at some other time. People go, oh, they're just doing that so you remember. And I'm like, I have spent 30 years wondering what the fuck happened after they got out of that cave. And they finally make the show, and you're telling me it's some kind of throwback. Like, how many shows do you watch where they go, wow, that was very traumatic. Dan, 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 dan. Like, not just Star Trek, you watch cartoons, you watch movies. They do this shit, and then they never return to it. And they're like, now he's back and he's grizzled. I'm like, what happened? Tell me, what did you do in the last 30 years? I literally want to know. And then the opponents to that are saying I'm only doing that because I'm some kind of sheep that only likes the past. I'm like, I want to know what they're doing now. Don't de-age them. Tell me what they're doing now. So Ready Player One does that. It just like, what if the metaverse had no copyright restrictions is the question.
Right.
And Dragon Con and doing cosplay and stuff like that. So that's why I like it.
Yeah.
Relevant to that, this just arrived today. This is
nice.
My tiny, this is a Bluetooth boombox that I backed on Kickstarter like 3 years ago. It's got back when I had a job and some money. It has two antennas on it. And it is the same size as my when I had a job really expensive Data action figure, and the same size has my when I had a job really expensive DeLorean. So I'm going to be able to put this on the hood of the DeLorean and have like Data carrying it around like this and be able to pump songs via Bluetooth. What did I do with the box? I should show that to you real quick, and then we'll end the podcast. Hold on.
Okay. James, vamp, but vamp in the Goldar voice.
What? No, I can't possibly.
Actually, I'm glad you brought it back to relevant. The Goldar voice, which you can do on command. That's why you did it, because any excuse I can get for you to do that.
Well, the joke that it became is that it's just hilarious to hear Goldar say anything, and Leo just immediately agreed with that. And was like, yeah, that's how he should sound. It should sound like
that. We had so many different kinds of hair, and we couldn't get any of them to show up on camera. So we ended up taking this big blanket that Gabby had. It was a big piece of fabric that was like for cavemen, and cutting off pieces of that. So, like, evidently the cats you had on that ship were Yetis.
When we first like started doing it, it was like it looked like real cat hair. Like it was really like fine and like the way it should look, but then it wasn't getting picked up on the camera, so we had to get like practically yarn and just use that because it was the only thing you could see.
It works, especially
does.
Since if they ain't questioning the ship, they ain't questioning the cat hair.
No, the cat hair is the most believable thing in the scene. People watch that and they go, oh no, that's accurate.
And my favorite part of that, which only eagle-eyed people notice, is that each time it cuts back to me, there's more hair on me than the last time.
There is still some down there. We basically wrapped that shit up and just never went back into the basement again. It's still sitting there. Oh no, we actually used it. Was that before or after we used it for the Power Rangers thing we did?
I think we did that after.
Okay,
because that was after.
The reason I'm thinking about it is because the metal, I put a piece of aluminum foil down and then a giant sparkler on the TARDIS console, so that when he punches it, it actually sparks, and that just stayed on it like it was a real episode of Doctor Who.
A face bump on your console
for several years. It's difficult for me to show that kind of stuff, but I should grab that and show it. But at another time, we'll show that.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, choreography.
Sure.
That we had Ronnie doing that fucking backflip and stuff.
Yeah.
So we'll do a stunt episode. So not related, but this thing just arrived, and look at this box. Look at this. This box is new. Look at this tape they used. Oh my god, I absolutely love it. This boombox, because it's Kickstarted, but I'm pretty sure it'll be available for sale for anybody. It's rad if you like that kind of thing. So just real quick, speaking about internet views, because I am still mad at that one punk. Screw you, kid.
Congratulations, kid. You pissed him off to the point that he started a podcast.
Congratulations. This is on you. But there were two other reviews worth mentioning, actually. One of them was done by hello, I'm a British person. His name is escaping me. He has his cup of tea. He did a review of the show, and he also did that and they were there. But Doug did it too, and I just decided not to go track it down. But he did a review of ours as well, and he just did a by the numbers review. And the only thing I remember him saying was like, "Evidently, it's Dr. Claw," and I'm like, "That's Goldar. That is your number one flaw, Doug. That's Goldar." It's not Dr. Claw. That's
Dr. Claw.
That's what Dr. Claw sounds like. So classic Doug, just classic. Oh man! So you can find that actually on his site if you wanted to see his review of it. And then
But why give him the views?
Because I
Find a
want
re-upload
attention.
of it.
Because
Find a re-upload.
I want attention, Trey. You think I should steal his review of Dragged In and upload it?
Yeah,
No,
there you go.
no, you do a review of his review.
That is kind of what we're doing here. That is kind of what the deal is.
Yeah.
So I'll tell you what, if there is even one comment that says I should do it, I will track down all the reviews and I will review only the part in which they talk about us. So I will find the one where they do a 3-second thing and then still they'll cut to us looking awesome and go, "It was okay, I guess," and then just move on. So if I get one person that says I should do it, I will gather them all up. There's got to be at least 8 to 12 of them.
Wow.
And we are mentioned a total of probably a minute.
I'm not sure if it's a good thing or a bad thing.
It's
like
in
if
their
these are
defense-
the people who are just being all ranty, angry. Look at me, I'm trying to be James Rolfe in terms of review.
Some of
them having no material on us is kind of okay.
Some of them. Here's what's happening. This is post demo reel deconstruction. These are people that are making videos that are reviewing the original movies with a critical eye, which surprises me that they're so critical on it, because some of the end jokes are so lost that they have no idea what's happening. Like, it just looks so nonsensical to them now that they just like, this is terrible. I'm like, well, at the time, I still think that the shot you're showing is pretty funny, but all right. So they review them all. And the problem is that we are actually above the level of quality of the rest of the work. If you look all the way from the Epic Brawl all the way to Demo Reel and Dragonborn and Beyond, which is all of Doug's work, and you look at all of it, we stick up, but not so high up like Raul Julia in Street Fighter, not so high up that you have to point it out, just so high up that you're like, this isn't gonna work in our flow.
Right.
We have to.
If you're focusing on the negatives, you have to just skip over it.
Yeah, because Doug's video does have a lot of problems to point out. Like, he didn't think it through, and it's worth pointing out. And then the next video is interesting, but how is it related? So you talk about it a little bit more, and then the next video is all about internet culture, which is fine, but it is awful like preachy to the people who want to hear those words, right? They're not really talking to the people who don't want to hear those words. And you notice I have things to say about that. So when you get to Dragged In, you're like, that is a very competently shot, funny video that does not belong in this collection. That's why it doesn't get mentioned. But because it doesn't get mentioned, there's no record of it on the internet. And now there's half of one. So I will keep bugging them until I get them to come on the show, and then we will talk about Dragged In a little bit, which will probably get this one views in return. All right, so that is our show. Does anybody else have anything else to share?
Nope.
James, have you ever seen any That Guy stuff I did not show you?
Yeah, I used to watch Nostalgia Critic and stuff like back in the YouTube days, and so like I was aware of who he was like when we were doing the game show and like all that kind of stuff. I didn't always get all of the jokes because I didn't watch like every single thing. But I was a light fan. I mean, it was definitely like there was a part in the game show where when Daemanda like takes over the stream, where I was supposed to be like fussing with the computer because I didn't know what was happening to it, and I couldn't. I was just sitting there with a gigantic grin on my face the entire time because Doug's just sitting right next to me and like just reacting to everything in real time. So yeah, like it it wasn't lost on me.
Oh, good. That game show, going back to it like super brief, is what's really weird about it is that Doug famously made a terrible game show, just terrible.
Yeah.
After ours.
Right. Yeah, Leo had told us that he was like wanting to make a game show, and so you were like, "Ooh, well, like maybe this could be it." and then I guess he made it afterward.
Yeah, and it is a terrible game show. It's not good. But you would think that he might learn something. That's what's weird about that guy. He only sees what he wants to see. And I have no shame in saying, yeah, he's got a cult of personality. Notice me, Senpai, is the game, right?
Yeah.
Same thing happened with Dr. Steele. I got a handwritten letter not a handwritten. I have a hand signed note from Dr. Steele. I was going for Yellow Jacket status, or what do you call it? What his elite? His
Yellow
elite
Jacket.
Yellow Jacket. Okay.
Yeah,
I wanted that Yellow Jacket patch, but instead he sent me a heartfelt letter.
No. Something objectively cooler, but no.
Right. If only there was a show in which I could boast about shit that nobody cares about.
I got an idea.
Oh man. Oh yeah. Actually, speaking of.
Oh yeah. There you go, Dr. Steele.
So yeah, basically I make no qualms that I was like, hey, I want to be on your show. And like, come on, Ricky, let me be on the show. And we actually managed it. We managed it, and now it's recorded that we had it. So thank you for joining me tonight, guys.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us on.
I will play us out on the 10-second theme again, and that's where we'll end the show. Oh wait, we'll do 1 second. The one downside to this system is if I decide to ad-lib something, this is how it works.
Quick, vamp.
There you go. You can have that.
I need a diagram to explain all the stupid in this 30-second scene. You should be impressed. That was really hard to do.